Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today.
Why do I always make videos talking about beta males? Well, the reason why I make videos talking about beta males is because I want to educate people about this type of male, why his behavior is dysfunctional, and how his behavior and approaches to life wind up not only damaging his own life, but wind up damaging the lives of others. Now, the reason why I talk about beta males, again, is because so many people just don't know what this type of man is, what this type of man's life paradigm is, or how that paradigm just does not work in society. And I learned about this beta male starting all the way back in 2002 when I started doing research on nice guys. Now, as I delved deeper into the whole nice guy paradigm and why the nice guy is a loser, I began to delve even deeper, and that's when I started to learn about this beta male. And this beta male is the foundation for the whole nice guy paradigm. And what I want my audience to do is learn about that paradigm so that they don't wind up becoming another one of these men in crisis that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis, because it's these males that are in crisis that are doing damage to society, and it's these males that are in crisis that just don't know how to navigate and function in the world as a man because they have been miseducated and socialized by a group of extremely dysfunctional women like feminists. Now, when it comes down to this beta male is primarily a socially engineered individual who came out of feminism. Because when it came down to these feminists 50 years ago, what they wanted to do was create this kinder, gentler, softer male who would be a bit more emotional than his father, and he would be more sensitive to her needs because he would be submitting to her authority. Now, that's what the definition of a beta male is, because this is a beta male. He is a male who places himself in a secondary position to women. He submits to female authority, and he believes that females are superior to him. Unfortunately, this is not the way God created the world to function as. He created the world where men were supposed to be leaders, men were supposed to be authority figures, and men were supposed to submit to male authority. And when you have a male out here who has been taught and socialized to submit to female authority at an early age, you have a male who will not be able to function in the world of adult men and women. And that's why so many beta males out here are malfunctioning and short-circuiting over the years. And this trend has escalated over the last 25 to 30 years, because that's why we've seen this increase in things like men being addicted to drugs, men going out here and participating in violence like road rage, men participating in an increase of domestic violence, men going out here and participating in violent behaviors like mass shootings, and men continuing to increase in participation in sexually deviant criminal behavior. And that's all due to men being socialized in these single mother households or these households with beta male fathers, where they learn how to submit to female authority and female authority figures and never learn how to actualize their potential as men or learn things like male survival skills or male social skills, because the only person who can teach male survival skills, male social skills, and male life skills is the father. However, feminists have demonized fathers in our society, and they have demonized men in things like media by presenting us with things like bumbling, stumbling fathers, or they create ads like that feminist propaganda known as the Gillette ad that ran online a couple of weeks ago. Now, they create this type of media that is misandristic and demonizes men, And they indoctrinate boys into this culture where they learn that being a man is bad, being masculine is bad, and being the type of man that is needed is bad. But we need to teach a value to manhood. We need to teach a value to masculinity, because in order for a boy to survive, he needs to learn how to survive like a man, because female life skills will not help a man learn how to survive in the real world. And your beta male, he does not know how to survive in the real world because he's learned these feminine life skills, these feminine social skills, and he's trying to apply feminine life skills and feminine social skills to a world that is expecting him to be masculine and a world that needs him to be masculine. And that's why so many of these men run into trouble later on in their lives, and they cannot do things for themselves in this world, like go out and get jobs, or go out here and build businesses, or go out here and even talk to the opposite sex, like guys like Elliot Rodger. And that's all due to the upbringing these boys have received in these female-headed households and these gynocentric environments like your public schools. And it's those type of males who are going out here, they're becoming frustrated, they're becoming angry, and they're simmering and boiling because they're trying to go out into a world where they're told to go out and survive, but they don't have, and they're not equipped to survive because they don't have the life skills, because the mothers coddle these boys, the mothers shelter these boys, the mothers make excuses for these boys, and then these boys never grow up to become responsible men. And this is why we are seeing such an escalation in antisocial and sociopathic behavior. And this is all a result of these socially engineered beta males who've been going on for the last 2 to 3 generations. And these men, again, they are becoming ticking time bombs. And as these men go on, we are seeing this increase in violence because these men just don't know how to think critically. They don't know how to think in the long term. They don't know how to problem solve. They don't know how to use logic and reason. And they approach everything based on their feelings like a woman does. They act on impulse like a woman does. And they don't think about the consequences of their behavior the same way a woman does. Now, the feminists thought that this type of man would be a better man for society. Unfortunately, this kinder, gentler, sensitive man, he has not gone on to build the utopia that the feminists thought that he would build. What this beta male has done primarily is wind up in his mother's house, sleeping on his mother's sofa, and this beta male never gets up to accomplish anything because he's too caught up in his feelings to build the discipline and resolve to go out and persevere in the face of adversity. And that's all due to the dysfunctional upbringing that this beta male has received in that single mother home, or that home with the passive beta male father, and in gynocentric environments like public schools and even private schools, where female teachers teach this boy that he needs to be submissive and good in order to accomplish any sort of success or get any sort of reward. When it comes down to boys, that type of nature just doesn't work for them, because you being submissive and being passive, that does not work for a male in this society. In order for a male to achieve and accomplish success, he cannot be passive, he cannot be submissive, he must be active, and he must go out here and assert himself. And this is a life skill a lot of boys aren't getting, because in a gynocentric environment like a public school, or even a Catholic school or a public school, that type of reward is not what makes a boy successful. What makes a boy successful is learning from being hands-on, learning from trial and error, and learning how to accomplish something by going out and completing tasks and asserting himself. That's how a boy learns how to be successful, because in the real world, that's how men go out here and achieve. Men achieve by having the courage to go out here and do what they assert to do what they want to do, go out here and master and learn a trade or a skill, and go out here in the face of numerous rejections and people saying no to them, to go out here and get what they want and do what they need to do. But a lot of boys, they aren't getting socialized in this because women shelter boys and coddle boys, whereas men go out here and they teach boys discipline and resolve. And that's why I talk about beta males all the time, because I want people to see why this behavior is dysfunctional, and I want people to learn about the roots of that behavior so that they can identify it in their own lives and take the minute to start correcting their course. And that's why I write books like The Man Crisis, so that men can start learning about these behaviors that are keeping them and impeding them from moving forward and hindering their lives and preventing them from actualizing their potential. Now, in addition to The Man Crisis, I also write books for men like Stop Simping, Why Men Don't Need Finance to Get Romance, because I see so many men making those mistakes and then winding up never having a successful relationship with a woman. And I write books like Manginas, They Look Like Men, but They Act Like Ladies, so that men can learn that you cannot use feminine approaches in a world of men. And I write books like The Misadventures of Captain Save-A-Ho, so that men can learn that they should not go out here looking to save troubled women, because that's not an interdependent relationship, it is a codependent one. And all of those books, again, are written so that people can understand the behavior of the beta male, because the behavior of the beta male is not healthy male behavior. It is not healthy masculine behavior. It is the behavior that feminists wanted to socially engineer in boys to become this soft male. Unfortunately, this soft male just does not have the life skills or survival skills to achieve anything in this world or live in this world. And that's why so many of these men are winding up malfunctioning, short-circuiting, and their lives are falling completely apart. Now, some of these guys out here who get butthurt about me, again, making these videos about beta males, I believe they are getting upset because I am talking about behaviors that they have either participated in the past or are currently participating in now, and they're still trying to deal with the fact that they are hearing the truth from another man. Because whenever it comes down to this beta male, whenever a man tells him something, he has a problem with it. And he has a problem with it, again, because he has a problem with male authority figures, and he has a problem with a male who is in a leadership role or an expert role telling him a truth that he does not want to hear. Because when it comes down to the beta male, he is used to women coddling him, women sheltering him, women making excuses for him, and he is, used to a man presenting hard truth to him and hearing things that may be considered painful to him. But what the beta male does not understand is that when that man is presenting hard truth to him, it is because that man cares about him and he wants that man to know the truth so that he can go out here and survive in the world. So that man is actually trying to help that beta male. Unfortunately, this beta male just does not want to get any help. What he wants to do is live inside of his smooth world where he doesn't deal with any problems, obstacles, or conflicts. And in that smooth world, he never grows in any way, shape, or form. And when you are living in a smooth world, you are stuck in a place of stagnation, and that's not a good place to be in, because it arrests your personal development and it keeps you stuck at a mental age of about 12 or 13 years old, and you're actually just a perpetual child, and you never really grow into manhood. In order for a man to grow, he has to listen to painful truths, he has to listen to hard facts, and he has to build, again, a discipline and a resolve so he can go out here and survive in the world. Because yes, hearing these things is painful, but after you hear them, what's going to happen is you're going to learn from them, and that's going to help you move forward. And that was one of the things I learned working at AmeriCorps Vista at the Strive program before I started doing my research on nice guys and beta males in 2000 and 2001, and working at that job readiness program where we dealt with ex-offenders, the homeless, and single mothers, and the hardest to place people in employment. I learned a lot about beta males, listening to many of the males who came through that program, and learned about why these men could not keep a job. Because that's another thing that beta males can't do, is they can't keep a job, nor can they ever finish or accomplish anything, because they are used to, again, going back to mommy, going back to being sheltered and coddled, and then they want to go back to the smooth world. And what they don't understand is that in order to get success, you have to go out into the rough, real world, because in order to achieve anything, that you have to sacrifice something. And once you start sacrificing something to get what you want, again, that may be hard and it may be rough, but then you can move forward. But the beta male, he'll sit there and he'll get jealous of other men who are willing to go through that painful process, because he will see them going out here and achieving and accomplishing things, and he'll get mad at them and get jealous of them, like Elliot Rodger did with all those guys who were with the women he dreamed of getting with, and he was mad at them, but this man never ever wanted to make any efforts to deal with the things those men deal with. Now, those men out there, they would go out here, and yes, they would get rejected hundreds of times before they got the attention of women. But your Elliot Rodger, he didn't want to go through that rejection, and neither do any of these incels. They didn't want to go through any of that rejection. They didn't want to go through any sort of failure. They didn't want to deal with that, because many of those guys, they had to deal with getting shot down in order to rise back up. And it was them rising back up that allowed them to go out here and achieve and accomplish. And this is something that the beta male just doesn't do, because his mother blames others instead of making him take responsibility for himself. And when it comes down to, again, these beta males, they don't like hearing the truth. Whenever you talk about the truth regarding them, this is when they get butthurt, and this is because you are telling them as a man what they need to do in order to be a better man. And those guys, that's what makes them angry, that's what makes them upset, and that's what makes them lose it, is hearing from another man telling him how to be a man. But that is the natural way how a boy becomes a man, is he learns manhood from other men. But the beta male believes he can learn manhood from women. And what he doesn't understand is this is why his life is stuck in a vicious cycle, and why his life goes nowhere. Because the only way a man can learn how to be a man is by learning lessons from other men. And I'm thankful to learn that a lot of guys out here are starting to learn from me about manhood, because I hear it from so many guys out here from all over the world telling me that books like The Man Crisis, Stop Simping, Manginas, and Misadventures of Captain Save-A-Ho have helped them, and in some cases transformed their lives, and it has allowed them to learn things that they didn't ever learn, because a lot of times their mothers didn't teach them these things, and sometimes their fathers didn't even teach them these things. But they're grateful that someone did take the time to actually write a book to help them learn about things like the man crisis that's going on. And that man crisis is the core reason why I talk about beta males in my videos, because I want, again, people to learn about this type of behavior, learn about this life paradigm, and learn the reasons for this life paradigm, so that they can break free of that vicious cycle and finally start making efforts to move their lives forward, and finally start to actualize their potential as men. If you'd like to learn more about the issues as related to the troubles related to beta males, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, in paperback on Amazon.com, or you can pick up The Man Crisis in ebook format on Kindle and Smashwords and Barnes & Noble's Nook. And you can pick up my other men's issues books like Stop Simping, Manginas, The Misadventures of Captain Save-A-Ho, and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single in digital format at online booksellers everywhere. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.